Silversea Expeditions Antarctica Fly Cruise program, a cruisinwithted.com production.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is another Cruising with Ted video presentation. Today we have the opportunity to speak to Kristen Ertz. She's going to tell us about what she does. She's going to be talking about some very exciting things if you're going to Antarctica, and we'll be mainly focusing today on expedition cruises. Take it away, Kristen.
Thank you so much, Ted. And thank you for joining me today. As mentioned, my name is Kristen. I have the privilege of being one of two Director of Expedition Sales here at Silversea. And one journey down to Antarctica that I'm going to be focusing very specifically on today is the Fly Cruise program. How does it work? What happens in between getting you to and from the White Continent? I'm going to take you through the journey and all the fantastic inclusions that Silversea includes along the way. But I think to start, let's just talk generally about Antarctica, one of my favorite places. I've been down there a few times myself. It really is that place of incredible icescapes. I think this photo, sometimes the photos don't even do it justice. It is a stunning, stunning place to be. Travel where very few have gone, because less than 0.002% of the world have been down to Antarctica. So it is a truly bucket list worthy destination to travel to. I love that opportunity of connecting with the spirit of exploration. We will work in, stories about Amundsen and Shackleton and their failed and famed attempts of getting down to the South Pole. A lot of that color works its way into the itineraries and our lectures. And of course, we really make Antarctica an educational experience, an enriching experience. Not that we're not going to entertain you, although I feel like Mother Nature does that all on her own. It really is a place to learn and understand what it means to, be traveling to the seventh continent. Maybe for most, it's the last continent that you need to get to. But I think most importantly, when you do travel to a place like Antarctica, it's understanding that we are there to experience nature on nature's own terms. So that means going into the experience with an open mind, and we maintain flexibility as our pillar for how we operate day to day. We work with Mother Nature, never against her, and it could mean that we change the plan as the day goes on to make sure first and foremost safety is the number one priority, and then also to make sure it's the most opportunistic, experiential day that our guests can have. Now, just to give you a little bit of background about traveling to Antarctica as a guest. So Antarctica has an organization called the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators. Silversea are member operators of this organization, and their main objective is to advocate for and promote the practice of safe and environmentally responsible private sector tourism to Antarctica. So there are certain rules and regulations that we follow as an operator and that we communicate to our guests as well on how we need to be responsible, guests when we are in this incredible place. So from a biosecurity perspective, before our guests ever step foot on the continent, believe it or not, we will actually vacuum the outer layer of your clothing to make sure that there's nothing, on your jacket or maybe on your hat that might fall off you and be introduced to Antarctica. So that's one step that we do. Before we bring you back onto the ship, we will scrub and disinfect your boots. We want to make sure that nothing is left stuck in the treads of your boots that we could potentially then reintroduce to another landing site. So there's lots of different cleaning and disinfectant protocols that we go through when we are working with Antarctica as a destination. And then, of of course, from a wildlife perspective, safe distance from wildlife always. We are guests in their home. We want to be respectful and make sure that we're not, tramping through any type of breeding areas or nesting sites or anything like that. So the rule for penguins, just to give you an idea, is 5 meters or 15 feet away that we need to be staying. Now, when you're traveling to Antarctica with Silversea, we've been doing expedition down in this amazing place for just over 17 years. We've got 3 purpose-built polar class ships to experience this region. So what that typically means is we can go through usually first year sea ice. And we're not icebreakers, but we can be down there during the Antarctic summer, so the southern hemisphere summer, to enjoy this amazing destination. We are a fully inclusive experience. So all of your pre-post elements that are part of the journey to get you to and from Antarctica are included, and then all of your on-ship and off-ship experience is included as well. And we have industry-leading crew to guest, guide to guest, and zodiac to guest ratios to make sure, again, that the experience is personalized, it's tailored to everyone's passions, abilities, and that opportunity to have simultaneous off-ship exploration in this destination. Now, when we are talking specifically about the Fly Cruise program with Silversea, what does that mean? So typically, to get down to Antarctica, most operators will sail across the Drake Passage. And a lot of our guests, maybe they've seen, video on social media, or maybe some suffer from seasickness, and they think, oh no, there's no way I'm going to Antarctica if I have to sail through the Drake Passage. Because a traditional transit of getting from South America down to Antarctica and vice versa is about a 2-day crossing on either end of your journey. Now, Silversea has introduced the Fly Cruise program. Now, we've been doing this program for a number of years, and we continue to enhance it and change the journey. And now we're very much personalizing it to our Silversea guests, because we are currently building and will introduce Silversea's first owned hotel, the Cormorant at 55 South. So I will share a little bit about what that adds to the journey of getting down to Antarctica. So now the Fly Cruise program with Silversea is the most efficient and most inclusive expedition in the industry to get you down to Antarctica. You'll have the exclusivity of staying at the Cormorant at 55 South, and you'll have that opportunity to fast track your journey to Antarctica. So if you are someone that needs to get to and from Antarctica in less than 2 weeks, without losing the amount of time you are spending on the continent, this is the expedition for you. Because what we are actually doing is removing the 2 sea days on either end of a traditional peninsula cruise to Antarctica, and replacing it with an 1.5-hour flight each way. So this helps to condense the overall length of time that you need in order to get yourself to and from Antarctica. And you can do this while avoiding sailing the Drake Passage. Now, we have 3 different ships that operate various lengths of itineraries for Fly Cruise. We typically have 2 that are in rotation at one time doing the Fly Cruise, because we have such a demand for guests wanting to take this type of experience, because again, most can't get away for more than 2 weeks at a time. So we have actually upped our presence in Fly Cruise to 2 out of our 3 ships throughout the Antarctic seasons to be able to satisfy that demand. Now, when you're on ship with us, we are all ocean view suites. Majority of our suites have private verandas. I highly recommend going that route, because it can be so great just to relax and watch the views pass by on your veranda. And at a moment's notice, you could get, either the captain or the expedition leader come over the loudspeaker and say, oh my gosh, there's whales on the port side. So it's nice to have access to your own private outdoor space in this destination. Now, on ship, you've got your gratuities, your Wi-Fi, all of your meals, all of your beverages included as part of the experience. Every suite has a butler included with it as well. And maybe you're thinking, what do I need a butler for in Antarctica? And what I love about, this part of the experience is it's the details that you don't think of. I think of when my sister and I came into our suite after a morning landing in Antarctica. Of course, it was a chilly morning. My hands got a bit wet, from the spray in the Zodiac. And we walked into our suite, and there is freshly made hot cocoa and freshly baked chocolate chip cookies waiting for us when we arrived. So it was just all those little touches throughout the experience that I never would have thought of to ask for, that today are some of the, best memories to really elevate the entire expedition experience down in Antarctica. And then from a culinary experience, we have 4 different dining venues available for our guests, no matter what ship you take. And we can also do in-suite dining 24/7 as well, if you like. I personally love waking up in the morning and having room service delivered to the suite before I start my day. So that's an option that you can take advantage of as well. Now, when we look at the off-ship experience and the off-ship delivery, where Silversea really excels in expedition is the size of our expedition teams and how we equip our ships with the amount of Zodiacs that we do, kayaks and things like that. And the reason behind this is because we want to ensure that we can have all of our guests off ship experiencing the destination at the same time and maximizing the amount of time they're able to spend in Antarctica. I mean, this could be a once in a lifetime trip. You want to really have the most opportunity to see and experience this incredible destination, and Silversea takes care of that with how large our expedition team is and how large the Zodiac fleets are with each of our ships. Now, once we have you off ship, we're going to take you in the Zodiacs to do scenic cruising and, see the incredible ice sculptures surrounding us. Hopefully we might have a whale experience like you see here. As you get into February, March, whales are at their peak for feeding in Antarctica, so it can really increase those chances for our guests. We'll take our guests ashore to do, small hikes to see penguin colonies. Maybe there's some seals, maybe leopard or red-eye seals that we can, again, view from that safe distance. And of course, if anyone is the intrepid explorer and wants to do the polar plunge, we have that opportunity available for our guests as well. Now, one thing I love, which is usually an extra cost with most other expedition operators, is we include kayaking as part of the day-to-day destination immersion. Now, obviously, we launch the kayaks when, weather, wind, ice conditions are safe, but it's a great chance and a great way to experience this destination through a different lens, through a different. Now, from a gear perspective, we want to make sure that our guests are prepared with some of the basics, which we take care of at Silversea. So with all of our expedition guests, they'll receive the Silversea Expedition backpack and the reusable water bottle. And those are nice souvenirs to take home with you at the end of your expedition. And if you do choose to partake in any of our kayaking excursions, we take care of that proper gear that you need to be safe, dry, and warm in the destination as well. So we'll give you the polar dry suit, the pogie mitts, the boots as well, so that you have that proper thermal layer to safely and comfortably enjoy kayaking in Antarctica. Now, with our Fly Cruise program specifically, all of our guests will also receive the Silversea Expedition Parka, which you can see on these gentlemen here in the left. So it is a dual layer parka, so a thermal insulated layer underneath, and then a red waterproof, wind waterproof layer on top. You can zip them both layers together. You can wear them separately depending how hot or cold you are feeling throughout the day. Now, we also provide our guests with a pair of waterproof pants, because you'll notice from a photo that I'll show you in just a little bit, Once we land our guests in King George Island, they are in the heart of the destination. So we want to make sure you are covered from head to toe in the proper gear. And that comes to our boots. So you can have Silversea take care of your expedition boots. One less thing you need to worry about packing with you. And these boots are specifically used for these types of regions. So polar regions, mucky regions, they're fully waterproof because sometimes when we are doing wet landings, so when you are getting out of the Zodiac, you are putting your feet into the water to get ashore. These boots stand up to all of those conditions perfectly. So the boots, the pants, and the parka are also part of our included offering for the Antarctica Fly Cruise program specifically.
That's wonderful.
Now,
this is Ted. Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I've had some guests and even myself on this type of cruise, and they advise, and I kind of found that to be true, is that you get the boots not too small and not too large, maybe a little bit larger than you need, because your foot can expand, and with all the walking, it can make quite a difference.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go with boots too small, especially too, depending how cold it is, the importance of wearing, sometimes guests will wear 2 or 3 layers of socks, or they'll wear a thicker, wool sock. So you do want to leave room for that. But the nice thing is, as part of the journey, the guests will receive their gear at one of the hotels throughout the pre-cruise journey. So if the sizing that you ordered in advance doesn't quite fit you, we can change the sizing for you before you step foot on the ship. So we can work with everybody that way. So when we look at the guest journey for Antarctica, our entire operation is out of Chile. We use Santiago as the main international city where our guests begin the journey. So if you are flying from anywhere in the US down to Santiago, this is the starting point where you will check into your pre-cruise hotel in Santiago. So we use either the Ritz-Carlton, the Mandarin Oriental, or the W Santiago. Now, our journey from there would be a direct flight down to Puerto Williams. So if you were sailing with us down to Antarctica, we are the exclusive operator out of Puerto Williams, Chile. And then starting in Q1 2026 onwards, we will be doing all of our Fly Cruise program out of that destination as well. So this is a look at the total inclusive journey with Silversea for the Fly Cruise. So 1 night pre-cruise hotel in Santiago, direct charter flight the next day down to Puerto Williams, Chile. That's about a 3-hour, 45-minute flight. And we use an Embraer 190. We'll use 2 or 3 depending on the ship that we are supporting for that voyage. Once our guests are in Puerto Williams, we transfer you to the Silversea built hotel. That is the Cormorant at 55 South, for a 1-night stay in this beautiful vista overlooking the Beagle Channel, and really helps to kick off the expedition in the heart of the destination. Now, the following day, we will do a direct charter flight from Puerto Williams down to King George Island. And that flight and operation has been tightened even more efficiently to just an hour and a half to get our guests from the continent down to Antarctica to start their journey. Now, depending on the length of the cruise they take, a lot of our Fly Cruise program is 6 nights spent on the ship, where we will, of course, enjoy all of these amazing experiences of Zodiac cruising and landings and penguin viewing and iceberg watching before we make the journey back up to Santiago with, again, a post-direct charter flight from King George Island up to the Cormorant at 55 South in Puerto Williams for a 1-night stay before the final charter flight up to Santiago. Now, if you would like Silversea to take care of the international airfare and a private home pickup. Cruising with Ted, he can book you on what's called our door-to-door fare. So that would include all of what you see here, but it would also take care of the element of the international airfare to get you to and from home and Santiago. So you can work through those different fare options with Ted to find out what the perfect mix is for you, depending on what you're looking for from this journey. Now, this is just a sample look at a couple of our highlight itineraries for the Fly Cruise experience. Now, the one on the left is where you would fly both ways from Port Williams down to King George Island and return. And that gives you the kind of 6 days in destination to experience Antarctica. And then the one on the right gives you the option of flying one way and sailing the other, or vice versa. So sometimes people don't want to fully lose out on the crossing of the Drake Passage via the ship, but they also maybe still need to keep the time away to a bit of a condensed version. So this will give you that option of fly one way, sail the other, or vice versa. Now, our pre-cruise journey, as I mentioned, starts in Santiago, Chile, and we start our guests at our included hotel, where we will have our hospitality desk available to let our guests know what the following day's journey will be like. So they'll know what time they need to have their luggage outside their room, what time their breakfast and transfer will be the next day, to take them to the airport for their direct flight down to Port Williams. And then once we get them to Port Williams, we will check them into the Cormorant at 55 South. And this is the Silversea exclusive hotel, and it is specifically for our Fly Cruise guests. It is a 150 room hotel. It offers just incredible vistas and views over the Beagle Channel and really helps our guests to kind of start and end their Fly Cruise journey in the heart of Chilean Patagonia. Now, if you just look at the room category, so all the rooms look and have the same inclusions and amenities, just a different view. Some will be a forest view like you see here, some will have a water view. And of course, private bathroom available in each of the rooms as well. Now, the look and feel of the hotel, it's meant to blend in with its incredible natural surroundings. So you'll see lots of woods, lots of stone to help it be a nice complement to this amazing part of southern Chile. Now, when we look at the Fly Cruise operation as an industry, there's a few different places where it is currently operated from. So some operators will use Puerto Natales, which is about a 2-hour, 15-minute flight down to King George Island. Some will use Punta Arenas, in which we are still using Punta Arenas until the end of this year. 2-hour flight to get you down to King George Island. And then once we transition over to Port Williams, Chile in Q1 of 2026, that flight time will condense even further down to an 1.5 hour flight. And that's important too, because we are at the bottom of the world. We are working with the conditions that Mother Nature presents us. So it's nice to be able to have that shorter flight window so we can work with the conditions more efficiently. Now, we even created our own Silversea onboard entertainment on the flight. So you can scan the QR code with your personal device and have access to some of our safety briefings, movies, different TV series as well. And you can track your own flight down to King George Island. Now, as we are coming into King George Island, we are landing right in the heart of the destination on a gravel runway. So it's not your traditional airport that we are used to from other destinations. There's very little infrastructure here. And you can see, as I mentioned, why we include the waterproof pants, because our guests walk off of the flight and they are right in the heart of the South Shetland Islands. So we have small little buses that will transport guests from the gravel runway down to the shoreline to meet the ship. So once our guests get down to the shoreline, the expedition team is there with the Zodiacs and with everybody's life jackets that we can then transfer them from the shore to meet our ship. And all throughout this entire journey, we take care of the luggage for you. So you're not having to schlep your heavy suitcases from one airport to the next hotel to the ship. All of that transition is taken care of for you by Silversea. So when you put your luggage outside of your room in Santiago the night before, you will see it again when you arrive into Puerto Williams. When you put your luggage outside of your room in Puerto Williams, you will see it again when it is being delivered to your suite on your ship. So we take care of all of the finer details of the journey as well. Now, I just want to share a quick little video with you of what the overall Fly Cruise journey experience can look like. Does that seem like something you want to do with us, Ted? Can we count on you to come on the Fly Cruise program?
Oh, that's amazing.
I think the problem is every time I see one of these videos, I'm just yearning to go on my next expedition.
And that's wonderful. I think that option to Fly Cruise is pretty exclusive. And there might be someone else that offers it, but I think Silversea has the most, people, the most number of ships, and so forth. And they're involved with the Fly Sea program like that.
Well, and exactly. And with all of the operational efficiencies that we have packed into really being industry leaders in this Fly Cruise experience, there's no reason to go with any other operator. We have thought of every part of the journey from start to finish to make it seamless, to make it experiential, and to really maximize our guests' time in Antarctica. So it's an exciting journey for us to be able to introduce to the world our first hotel and really that opportunity to innovate this entire journey for our guests.
No, that's quite spectacular. And not have you got your shore to shore, or however you say it, system where you get picked up, you get literally left on the exact place you want to be. No problems. I would even think, okay, let's say people are challenged, like they can walk a little bit, they don't have a problem with breathing. I could even see someone who maybe they're not going to go out in those Zodiacs every time, but they might just want to be on the ship and go out and see that, with that in mind. I wonder how realistic that might be, for people that are a bit challenged, but they can walk a bit, they can get on and so forth. Is that even possible to consider somebody for this?
Yeah, I mean, with the nature of the Fly Cruise program, it is, of course, embarking and disembarking via a Zodiac. So there does need to be the ability. We like to say, if you have the ability to walk up and down a flight of stairs, you have the ability to get in and out of a Zodiac to safely embark and debark the ship via Zodiac. So that would be the one need to board this type of experience. But if mobility was an issue and someone did want to get on the ship just to enjoy it for the incredible, scenery and things that it is sailing through, then I would recommend doing one of our journeys that is departing and sailing from Port Williams, because there we are physically docked. We can put our gangway down to offload and bring new guests onto the ship. So there's different ways that we can work with our guests depending on, their own abilities. And then when we are in destination doing landings or going ashore to see penguins and things like that, the same idea would apply. We use the Zodiac to get our guests from ship to shore, or to go out and to do some scenic cruising. So if you do wish to partake in those particular activities, we just ask that you have that ability to be able to, again, walk up and down a set of stairs will more than be enough to help you enjoy that experience from an off-ship perspective as well.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. I think we've covered the bases today, and I was wondering maybe sometime in the near future we could break it down a little bit for people. And there's other expedition adventures ahead as well besides Antarctica. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, Silversea as a company, we go to more destinations than any other cruise line. Even with our 4 expedition ships, we do actually touch on all 7 continents. So there is a wide world of experiences out there that your guests can experience with Silversea, both on our classic product and our expeditions as well.
Thanks so much, Kristen. There's more questions and ideas coming into my head as we speak, and I'm sure our audience out there, all you sailors out there, would be interested in finding out more. So stay tuned for our next Cruising with Ted video adventure, and have a great day, Kristen and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Ted thanks you for watching and asks you to subscribe to Cruisin' with Ted on Facebook and YouTube.